Hello, 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 hello. Okay, let me get things ready. I actually came in exactly on time. Up 1 second. Okay, hold on. Let's see. 1 second. Cut me off. Two people in. Hold on, let me get my coat. All right, sorry. Hold on. Okay. Coming. Oh boy. Okay. I almost forgot this. I'd have been dead without it. So, oh shit. So how you doing? One person. That's probably me watching the TV. So this is going to be set for last night. I moved it up to tonight, but whatever. Here I am. So let me see if there's anybody here. This is going to be about fentanyl, jelly roll. Michael Amari, how you doing, Michael? What's going on? Thank you for showing up. Um, I've said this a million times before. I like to do lives better; they're easier for me, and plus, I go into video fashion after format, I should say after. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for showing up. Okay, so I'm not sure how many of you know. I guess a lot of people know who Jelly Roll is for sure. Um, I didn't get hip to Jelly Roll until I went to rehab December of 2022. So some of the younger guys that watch music videos in the morning for sure play song, listen to a lot of downer music, songs about drug addiction and stuff like that. But anyway, the song "Save Me" came on, and that's the first time I heard Jelly Roll. And since then, I mean, I'm like an avid fan. I like this guy a lot. I've listened to every song he's had, in down times and good times. Anyway, real smart guy. You don't know who he is. Really, his background is from the Nashville area of Tennessee. Um, and going even further into it, Struggle Jennings. I did time with the Terra Hut, and I forgot what year it was. Was it 16, 17, or whatever? Struggle is the grandson or step grandson, I'm not sure, of Waylon Jennings. Um, I wasn't friends with him, but Struggle was surely good friends with two guys that I know he was close with. After I got out of rehab, I think it was around January, I reached out to one of those guys who knew Struggle because I was going to try to get in contact with Jelly Roll. I mean, this was within the realm of possibility for sure. Not only is he right here, but I literally know somebody who talks to Struggle like regularly, and Struggle and Jelly Roll are super close. So I was going to go that direction and whatever, relapse, whatever, typical Robert shit. And I never did. But I did watch a lot of interviews with Jelly Roll. Um, the guy is super smart, well read. So I think he got his GED when he was 23 in prison. He did some time in the state of Tennessee. But in my opinion, the guy's phenomenal as far as a musician. And let me say this too: the white rap stuff, or the whatever it's called now, the mixture, the white country rap. I wouldn't give you the time of day when I was in the joint. Prejudice, racism, racist is not the right word. Prejudice for sure. Um, and that was basically okay. No problem, Steve. I got to shut this down. So I was okay. Okay. I'm doing a live right now. I'll get back to you later. Thank you so much. Okay, you're watching. Cool. All right. Let me shut this off so I don't get more of this stuff because I know it's like weird. Okay. So yes, I liked some rap back in the what 80s, NWA, stuff like whatever. Okay. In prison, especially the feds, when everything's about white or black, white TVs, white tables, white this, black that, um, you start really, or I started really conforming to that mentality. I did not like watching movies that had black people on them. Not every movie, but that's the truth. I noticed probably around 2003 for sure how many white guys were coming in that identified so much with black music. Hip hop changed the landscape of everything for sure. Back then, I used to hate on it and the Kardashians as well, because Kardashians made it cool for all the white girls want to go out with black guys. I'm just being straight up. But I've since had different feelings about a lot of that stuff since I've gotten out. But for sure, I used to not like white guys who rapped in prison, which was very stupid. I remember going to Lewisburg, and they had like some rap offs or whatever they called them, rap battles, and the guys from couple guys from Maine who talked, white guys from Maine who talked in the Ebonics. And it was like that's the whitest state in the union, and these guys were just lost in they were totally lost in hip hop. Um, so again, it's not like I never would listen to it. You get MP3 players in the feds, and you can tell a lot about a person's musical taste, or whatever, by just listening to those. When Struggle Jennings came around to FCI Terre Haute, first of all, I had no idea who he was. Second of all, I heard he was into white rap or whatever. And he was a really nice guy, from what I remember. Just trying to stay out of the way. He didn't want no problems. I was doing a interview with somebody not long ago that knew more of the story. Said he ducked wreck. That means he was there was a situation where, based on your skin color and your age, if you're in a unit and your number comes up, that means if you're in the white car, doesn't matter what gang, group, state, whatever, if you're in the white car, something needs to be handled. Somebody needs to be assaulted. Okay, number gets punched, you come up, you got to go do the work. And Struggle's number came up for whatever reason. Again, I don't remember the exact details behind the story, but all in all, Struggle just pretty much tried to stay out of the way. Lifted weights a lot. But there was a lot of guys that knew or had heard his music. Guess he was up and coming at the time. There was some media attention surrounding him. But I knew nothing about Jelly Roll. But the guys who did like him, I always questioned. I looked at guys, I would look at their MP3 players and see if there's more rock or more rap. If there's more rap, that's all you need. We don't need to talk about anything else. And I'm not saying in a belligerent asshole type of way. Just in the back of my mind, that's how it was. Oh, by the way, since I'm talking about race, happy Martin Luther King's Day. I hope everybody ate white meat to celebrate. There's pun intended. You guys know what I'm talking about? History. I did an article about that many years ago, by the way. Anyway, that's not meant to be bad. It's meant about his sexual preferences. Anyway, so when I got out of prison, and this has everything, I'll speed it up. When I got out of prison, and I have a wife that came over from Spain, I have seen discrimination, prejudice, whatever against her. Believe it or not, she's whiter than most, but because of what comes out of her mouth, I have seen that, and it opened up my eyes to hearing a lot of my black friends or not black friends, what they talked about in prison as far as structural racism, this and that. Totally flipped the switch in my head, and I saw a different light. That's the truth. When it comes to music, I never heard anything like Jelly Roll or New Breed. I like New Breed a lot too. I never heard anything about these guys, and I started really listening to what they had to say. And if you go back into the music in general, we can say Elvis stole from blacks, da da da. We can go all the way back. So I can care less about that anymore, like I once upon a time did. I really started listening to a lot of Jelly Roll, got into it, like I said, and really, I mean, I can tell pretty much word for word everything he's saying, and watch the interviews, like I said. So I was very surprised when the other day I came across my screen saying that Jelly Roll testified against or in a Senate subcommittee about fentanyl. And I've watched it 3 times now, all 2.5 hours worth. Notes right here. Let me see if I can read them. So fentanyl. Fentanyl came around, 1959, 1960. Um, Pharmaceutical, intravenously used for medical reasons, surgery, stuff like that. As a matter of fact, we'll have a shot of fentanyl on Friday when I have my surgery. If I'm able to go, we'll see what happens. So for the bladder cancer, because of the structure of my urethra, I suffer from bladder pain as soon as I'm done, and they always give me a shot of fentanyl with the Michael Jackson juice when I go under. That's the truth. Michael Jackson juice, if you guys don't know, is oh my god, what's it called? Propofol. Propofol. Uh, so as far as fentanyl being misused, the first time I personally heard of anything about fentanyl outside of operating room was in Butner, FCI Hospital. So 2007, I go to Butner. I was diagnosed with bladder cancer in 2004 at Lewisburg. They take me on a private jet plane, fly me to North Carolina to the Butner Medical Center, which is a federal medical center inside of a complex. The Federal Correctional Complex in Butner, North Carolina has 5 prisons, one of which is medical hospital. So I was in there. I mean, as soon as I got out of the R&D, the orientation, got upstairs, I ran into a friend called Jack Menino. As soon as the elevator door opens up, boom, he wants some Percocets. And it was just a pill, drug induced ride. It was wild. And then somebody turned me on to fentanyl patches. Fentanyl patches at the time have gel in it. I don't know so it's not 100 milligrams, 100 micromilligrams, or whatever it is. People know what I'm talking about. Um, for pain reasons, it's usually they put a patch on your arm for 2 to 3 days. Well, the gel that comes out of it, so in prison, they, like a lot of places, they check and see if you're misusing the patches. What they would do is they put a patch on the person's arm, the nurse would then date it, and prior to the person getting the patch exchanged, somebody would come along with a pin, little sewing needle, and prick it, and then squirt the gel out, and then that gel would be sold and used. Let me tell you, if even on the old ones, even a 3-day patch that's getting ready to be used, that gel is still really strong. Um, I mean, ideally, people want to get a first time patch. I mean, a first day, fresh one, I should say. Well, that happened. They were more expensive. I don't remember what it was at the time. But um, here's the thing with fentanyl. This is my opinion. So I've done opiates. Sadly to say, but my favorite being black tar heroin. Then you go to hydrocodone, oxycodone, and all that stuff. I've done all that. Okay. Fentanyl got me high, but it was like, okay, so I often say that I refer to different opiates as head highs or body highs. So morphine, for example, it's not a head high to me, it's more of a body high. You feel numb, but you don't get high per se, like the endorphins or the dopamine rush, whatever it is. And I don't know the chemical releases on that. But fentanyl, I would be like so high and not even realize how high I was. That was the thing with fentanyl until I couldn't feel myself breathe. So that was one of the things about fentanyl, and I almost overdosed twice on fentanyl patches in the Butner Medical Center, and that's part of the reason that I ended up doing such a long period of sobriety. Not long after when I went to Butner FCI one. Now let's skip the prison stuff in my experience. So I'm not sure, and I just Googled it before what year fentanyl actually came onto the black market, started being sold on the streets. Ohio, boy, you guys really, really get hit with a lot of stuff. And one of the first places that it looked like it was Ohio. And I had a lot of friends from Ohio in the joint. Shout out Josh, Yancey, Shep, and I can name a bunch of you guys. But all those guys had friends really close to them that were dying of fentanyl. And this is like in 14, 15, I want to say. So in the beginning, and I don't know this to be factual. This is what I do know. I know people in the Ohio area that were getting fentanyl off the black market, meaning from the black web, I should say. They were having small amounts sent, like a gram or two, $100 a gram, and then they would get it, and it would come from China via Australia, come right to their doorstep, and it would be like cut 1,000 times or 100 times or whatever. I never saw that then. Last year, I seen just what I said at somebody's that ordered something off the dark web, um, a gram just like that of pure fentanyl, and but that's different. Talking about some years ago. Well, apparently, this is what's happening. If you guys don't know, China makes the precursors for fentanyl or makes fentanyl straight up. They have now, over the last 5 years or so, gotten into bed with Mexican drug cartels. Mexican drug cartels buy a lot of this fentanyl stuff from China, go straight to Mexico. And it is then, like everything else, walked across our border, smuggled across our border. Um, there really is not a border. You guys don't know that. I don't know how many people are really familiar with it. The border's a joke. There are apps that could get people across. They're smuggling way more than the news media allows, and they're trafficking drugs with a lot of those people that come into the country. That is a fact. So now what's happening is, as far as the money laundering, we got WeChat, I think it's called, and I just watched this on the Senate stuff. Something called WeChat, not only that, cryptocurrency. So now, okay, so the drugs come from China, curses come from China, the Mexicans hook it up. By the way, there's this misunderstanding. Okay, so based off what I know, and this is even talking to somebody out of Oklahoma named Drew Cook, who is a prominent figure in the Libertarian Party, who runs a harm reduction branch or whatever out of Oklahoma City. And they're saying that they have never seen methamphetamine coming from over the border that had fentanyl mixed in it by cartel members. I say this because there is this, and I don't know. So I've never seen it. I've never heard it. I know people on both sides of the border, and I've heard the conversations. Meaning, I have written for Vice in the past. I was going to do stories about this going back a couple of years, and people on that side of the border say that they don't mix fentanyl and methamphetamine, for example. People over here, I believe, are the ones mixing the fentanyl. And again, this is just based off of few conversations. I'm not, in the know like that. So, but I do know that people who have tested it on this side of the border that work for business, that have harm reduction companies, Drew Cook, and I can use his name, said that they've never seen methamphetamine mixed with fentanyl coming straight from the cartels or from the Mexican organizations. It happens once it gets here. Now, what they do over there is they make pills. I have seen on TV about Valiums, about this and that. I don't know. I'm not familiar. I can tell you the only thing I'm familiar with that I know about is the little blue pills that look like M30s, which are the morphine. So they make those, they press those over across the border, and they sell them. Okay, then they get across over the border like everything else. Those pills are dangerous. They have taken the place of a lot of the black tar in New Mexico. People are, a lot of people, let me take this real quick. Hello? Hold on. I'm on YouTube live right now. Let me call you. I'm live right now. Bye. So, anyway, so I've seen on the news that organizations or people are taking this fentanyl and turning it into candy to try to sell it to kids. I don't know if that's true or not. And what I mean by that is I'm not sure if that's being smuggled across the border to beat the border patrol, or if there's actually sick people that are actually making it look like candy to sell to kids. I don't know. I do know, and I can agree with that, we do have a fentanyl crisis. Fentanyl is being put in drugs by people over here that I know. So fentanyl is being put in drugs like cocaine, methamphetamine, and even marijuana. When you buy drugs like cocaine, meth, and marijuana that have fentanyl in it, you're actually being poisoned. You're being tricked. The person who sold that to you needs to be fucking tore out of the frame. They don't need law enforcement per se. They need people to go after them and whip their fucking asses is what they need to do. Just joking, people. But that is over the top. That is a whole different animal for people to lace drugs to get you hooked, your body hooked, because that's what they're trying to do. If you're selling me cocaine, for example, and I'm taking drugs and there then is fentanyl in it, because you put fentanyl in it, or one of the dealers puts fentanyl in it, because all they're trying to do at that point is get you more hooked. It's not like cocaine or meth isn't isn't addictive enough. They want to then get you. That's pretty fucking sick. I mean, that is wrong. And there's a lot of people that are dying thinking they're taking some other pill, morphine pill, a Valium, a Xanax, or whatever. Um, I see stories, a lot of stories. I've probably seen 5 in one day about parents that say their kid never ever took a pill in their life, but they took this one pill because they had a headache or they want, and then they did. I'm sorry, parents, your kids have taken just that one pill. First of all, maybe there's a rare case, but that sounds good because they don't want to make their kid look like a junkie, and that's how they put it out there. And it's sad. It's sad that they do that. It's sad that they're embarrassed that their kid had a drug addiction or habit. Then again, in the United States, as Jelly Roll said, we shame, mean, and otherwise bully addicts. That's what we do here in this country. And so I bring that up because I feel sorry for those parents, because they're really trying to put it out there that their kid died of some certain opioid or this fentanyl poisoning, but their kid never done drugs, just wanted to do it this one time. I just think it's sad that parents do that. Okay, so fentanyl. So now here's what we have. Oh, I have the bill in front of me. Congress is now trying to pass a bill called. It's in the title. Where is? Stop it. Here we go. Fentanyl Act is what it's called. Where? And let me tell you something. Okay. The Fentanyl Act. So Congress is now alarmed about the fentanyl crisis. They want this bill to pass so they can have new tools, as they put it, to go after China government, Mexican government, Chinese money launderers, cartels, and dealers. Okay. So what they don't have is access to WeChat, if I'm understanding it right. WeChat, I don't even know WeChat. It's kind of like Snapchat or something. So apparently what happens is money rolls in. So however it comes from China, the drugs come from China to Mexico, the Mexicans make it. They then turn it into pills, powder, whatever, put it in all kinds of drugs. They come across the border, those drugs are sold. Then goes back into the hands of somebody associated with the cartel, whatever. They then bring it to the Chinese money launderers in the United States. They actually give the American dollars to them, and immediately that money is then in Mexico, ready to get in dollars, pesos, whatever it is over there, or they can turn it into cryptocurrency. But the Chinese money launderers, so some senators are saying, they're over there and they use WeChat because it's secure. They're comfortable with it. Maybe it's run by the government of China. Who knows what the deal is? But they're they're saying now that they need tools to go and get into social media that block them out, encoded media or whatever. I don't know enough about current what do you call it? Damn it, technology to know exactly what they're saying. But also they want this in this bill, which I need to read the 5 key parts. Damn it! It goes after more of cryptocurrency stuff. Okay, and then of course we're going to increase the laws for fentanyl, people who sell fentanyl. Okay, so and I say that because boy, what this fentanyl stuff has done, and what Jelly Roll is doing is really, in my opinion, fucking off criminal justice reform. Now, Jelly Roll, where's this damn Okay, let me just look it up. Fend off, Fend off Fentanyl Act. Jelly Roll was in front of the Senate for the first time, Senate subcommittee for the first time. Um, I can imagine the feeling. You got a guy who was a former drug dealer, did time, became a huge he's a huge star as a musician, is doing really well, and then you get asked to go in front of a Senate subcommittee. Let me tell you something. In 2011, it was 2012. I started writing. I picked up a lot of international fame, I guess you'd say, because of Bernie Madoff. My connections with Bernie Madoff. I was writing senators. I wrote all of them about criminal justice reform issues. I got 3 back that weren't just cover letters. They were actual letters from the senators' aides, is what they were. McCaskill was one. Claire McCaskill. I went back and forth with this one for a while, but it's an awesome feeling. It's an awesome feeling to be heard, especially when I was in prison. But imagine Jelly Roll. I mean, I'm sure it's that's a high in itself. So I watched him, and he gave a great opening speech to the subcommittee, and it was fantastic. And then I kind of watched him as they used him, in my opinion. They're going to use him. They have a big figure, star, that a lot of white trash, white hillbillies, whatever you want to say, listen to, pay attention to. He's got a big voice. He's got a really big voice. And this guy goes into jails, goes into rehabs, sings for them, talks to them. He does a lot for addicts, right? And he does smoke weed and drink alcohol to this day. I tried to see if he got clean. From all indications, he's not. He apparently doesn't do any hard drugs anymore, but he smokes weed and he drinks. It's another thing, something that's interesting too, because he's in front of Congress advocating for a bill as an addict still, but they don't really put it that way. It was really interesting. But here's where they got Jelly Roll. Unbeknownst to him, I do believe he doesn't know federal law. Okay, fend off fend off bill. Okay, here it is. In that bill, they're asking for more to take away more powers, is what it is, to go into most social media accounts. Do you think it's going to stop with the Fend off Fentanyl Act? It's like the terrorism stuff with the TSA. Once our government, and I'm not knocking our government, and I put a flag behind me when I have a studio, because I am proud of our country, in spite of anything I've done, laws I broke. I think we had a good country. Society. I don't think there's recovering it really like what it was, but it's not all doom and gloom. So don't get me wrong. We're going backwards. Once a bill is passed, legislation is passed, smart people in government then take the new law and they go after their true intent. What is their true intent? I believe there's more than just this fentanyl bullshit. When you look at the bills, let me see if I can find these 5 key parts real quick. Treasury Department. Okay, what is a fentanyl? Why did y'all? Okay. Fentanyl Act makes combating fentanyl a top national security priority for the United States, and once enacted, will maximize our ability to leverage sanctions and anti-money laundering tools against illicit Mexican and Chinese organizations that traffic deadly fentanyl. Question. We all know that fentanyl is deadly, right? Why why are we just trafficking? Why are we just targeting fentanyl? Because it's deadly? Because what about the meth problem that we have? What about the meth problem that has methamphetamine so low that homeless people are running around with ounces and are just fine? What about that problem? We're just going to forget. We're just going to go straight to the fentanyl problem and just forget about the meth? Or is it because they can't do nothing about meth? And they truly can't do anything about fentanyl? but they want to enact a law for other reasons that they're not talking about. They're going to use people like Jelly Roll to help push the act. One of the things that was said, and it was a chart was shown during this conference, was by Kennedy, Senator Kennedy, and it showed the penalties for drug crimes. Okay, and let me see if I got that. I took it. Lead a bunch of crap earlier because my storage is messed up. Please. Here we go. Okay, he goes and breaks out. It's 21 United States Code 841. That's actually what I'm under, okay? It's the statute for drug offenders. Federal mandatory minimum sentencing. Okay. So Senator Kennedy, knowing that Jelly Roll is going to be testifying, my opinion, suckers Jelly Roll right in. This is what I'm saying. Okay, so he broke down the penalties. Do you know that 5 grams of methamphetamine, 5 grams of meth today, even though it's everywhere, okay? 5 grams of meth, mandatory minimum penalty is 5 years. The mandatory minimum penalty for a first-time offender is 5 years, okay? Now, there's other ways, acceptance of responsibility, there's other things. The mandatory minimum penalty is 5 years. 5 grams. For crack cocaine, remember crack? Everybody heard crack? The racist laws and all that, which there's some argument there. 28 grams of crack will get you 5 years. So 5 grams of meth, 28 grams of crack, same 5-year penalty. 500 grams of powder cocaine, 500 grams, half brick, 500 grams, 5-year mandatory minimum. So you got 500 grams of powder coke, 5 grams of meth, carry the same penalty. Nobody ever screams about that. Meth for a long time was a white drug. Why wasn't it like real racist? You know, I wonder. But we don't even care about meth no more because the streets are it's just a boom. $150 an ounce, fucking just $40 an 8-ball. Come on, man. And then we can't do nothing about the meth. There's too much. We're going to jump to the fentanyl crisis because it's in the news and it kills people. Don't get me wrong. Fentanyl, it does. This is a whole different animal. It's true. So right now, fentanyl, 40 grams. So 40 grams of fentanyl carries a mandatory minimum of 5 years. 5 grams of meth carries 5 years. 40 milligrams of fentanyl. 500 grams of powder cocaine carry 5 years. So, it was Kennedy. I just thought it was Senator Kennedy breaks out this chart, and Jelly Roll made a comment that it's ass backwards. Senator Kennedy is advocating for 2 grams of fentanyl, 2, to be mandatory 5 years. That's just 2. And Jelly Roll during the hearing was trying to like walk a fine line between addicts and what to do with addiction and what to do with drug dealers. And he said some things that I said many years ago. Number one, after I saw somebody die, overdose, it was fentanyl, by the way, white heroin, whatever you want to say. I no longer looked at drugs as a victimless crime. It was hard for me to say drugs was a victimless crime at that point in my life. Also, I was not for legalization or decriminalization. As a matter of fact, I was for mandatory minimums. But they needed to be redone. So people were trying to do away with mandatory minimums. And back in 2008-9, I was writing in some of my articles about how mandatory minimums aren't the problem. It was the amount of time within the mandatory minimums. You know, instead of 5 years, 10 years, that's got to be cut in half, if not more. That's still my position. I don't want to go too far on that. I said it's still my position. I'm saying that I still believe in that somewhat, but the drug problem is too. When I came home from prison and I saw what's up, when I came home from prison and saw this town where I'm at right now and the surrounding towns, an old county below me, just how wiped out it is with meth and how that's just the way it is. Things have changed. Can't stop that. You can't. They did so much to try to combat meth. They went after the cold pills. They did laws for manufacturing. They were going to every time it's make a law harder, tougher, go after them. And it does jack shit. When it comes to the fentanyl, and Kennedy, what he said was, it's not about the addicts, it's about the dealers. And he showed, oh, by the way, 40 grams he wants to make. So 2 grams of meth, 5 years, and 40 grams. Is it 40? 40 grams of, 2 grams of fentanyl, he wants 5 years, 40 grams of fentanyl, a 10-year mandatory minimum. That's what he wants. Okay. Now, they try to separate the dealers from the addicts. And I'm here to say, how many of the dealers are addicts? Most. Number one, there are people out there that don't care what they sell, type of drugs they sell, or if it kills people. Heroin dealers, for example. I've never, in prison, I dabbled, did some trading or whatever, years, way back. And I guess I'm trying to figure out if I couldn't sell fentanyl, for example, right? Because I'm not trying to kill people. Okay. That's the same way I felt with heroin back in the day. I never would expect me to get into something like that, profit or not. Of course I sold marijuana, coke, and meth. I never looked at those as death drugs, and again, I started doing heroin, even doing it, like I couldn't see myself ever selling it. So my point's this: the reason people sell fentanyl today, number one, again, there are people that don't care and just think if you're in that game. I interviewed a kid that sold some black tar heroin. They mixed it up and sold it to trendy kids. They called it cheese. Cody, he's contacted me not long ago, but he's just like, hey, those people were doing it, and they got themselves into that they died. So be it. Thought that was a little harsh. What I'm saying is this: the money in drug dealing, from talking to people out of prison, from talking to people I know, is not what it used to be. The profit is not there. For example, in 1997, I would make the minimum 10,000 off 1 pound, normally 15,000 off 1 pound of methamphetamine, 1 pound. That same pound now, selling it like I did in pound, it would make like $1,000 a pound. It's not worth it. It's not there. Maybe 2. That's not stretching it out. Profit is in fentanyl. That's why there would be bigger dealers. Okay? For example, I know this for a fact. On all the border towns that's in California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, on those side of the border, they sell those blue fentanyl pills for 20 cents a piece. 20 cents a piece. Okay. By the way, there's if you look hard enough on the internet, you'll see this. It's not Rob talking to people I know. 20 cents a pill. I watched this hearing, and they're talking about the drug organization sending mass tons across the border, and how many pounds are getting caught. Well, they also have a lot of freelancers that have girls pack up their vaginas and bring it across. Once it hits this side of the border, you can get it for like 50 cents a pill. Okay, on this side, just depends who it is. These are freelancers or whatever. This is California. This is true shit. Now let's say I wanted to buy it and sell it. Let's say that I'll use me for example. Take it easy, U.S. government. I'm giving examples. $1 a pill. $1 a pill. Okay, unless I go down there and I buy it straight. $1 a pill. And then turn around and sell it for $5 minimum, up to $20 and $30 a pill. The profit, when you're talking about thousands of dollars, the profit margin is way up there. And that's why fentanyl would be appealing to some dealers. There's a taboo on it, I'm sure, and not everybody, because people die off of it, you know. But the overwhelming majority amount of people that sell fentanyl that Kennedy wants to go after for fentanyl selling are all going to be addicts, just like the crack addicts that they put in prison back in the 80s. We've seen this movie before. We've watched it. We've seen it all. Happened with the crack cocaine. And then they appease the African American community predominantly, mainly this by, okay, if you guys don't know, it was 1 gram of crack was the equivalent as far as sentencing and penalties. 1 gram of crack was the equivalent to 100 grams of powder cocaine. Okay. One sugar packet, and that didn't picture 100 sugar packets. Okay. Same penalty, 10-year mandatory minimum. Let's say that, for example. Well, then they decided they were going to come and reduce that. 18 to 1 is what they called it. Now, what is 18 to 1? 18 grams of powder is equivalent to 1 gram of crack. So 18 sugar packets is equivalent to 1 sugar packet of crack for the purpose of the sentencing structure, the penalty, how many years you're going to get in prison. Do you know how they came up with the number 18? You know how they did it? Science? No. Senator Jeff Sessions, our former U.S. Attorney General, was in the gym, and I believe with Dick Durbin, Senator Dick Durbin. Yeah, too much soda. And Durbin wanted the bill to pass. Sessions was stalling on it for whatever reason. They were in the Senate gym. Durbin said something to the effect, "Hey, Jeff, what are we going to do about this bill?" He's like, give me a number. Give me a number. This is on the crack. What number? What number, Dick? Jeff, what are we going to do? How about 18? You're on. That's how we have the law right now today. Right now today. Not based on science, not based on bullshit. Now we have a law that's really, when you look into this Fentanyl Act, you think it's going to stop there? You think it's going to be about fentanyl? Nothing to do with fentanyl. Our government is, they can't stop fentanyl. They can't stop meth. They can't stop the cocaine. Cocaine's coming back, by the way, all over the routes. And they're already lowering the prices so a common person can get it. Taking the profit margin out of the drug dealing thing, but whatever. Rocket scientists. So, I lost my train of thought. I'm sitting there thinking, so we're going to do this fentanyl thing. And you know what people are going to clamor for? We're going to have Jelly Roll sit there and go, yay! They asked Jelly Roll, what does this mean to your community, Jelly Roll? This Fend Off Fentanyl Act. What Jelly Roll was actually being honest, what he was actually saying is it means a lot for my people and people like me, addicts predominantly, people where he's from, whatever, to see Jelly Roll testifying in front of the Senate, because the voiceless, because most of them are voiceless. Most of them have criminal records. They've been shut out. When you have a criminal record, you're fucked in a lot of ways as far as, jobs, housing, whatever. There's ways around it, but there's also ways that it hurts you, for sure. Jelly Roll was trying to say, like, it's going to mean a lot that my people see me up here having a part of this. I wonder what Jelly Roll's people are going to say when they realize that all their homeboys are going to go to jail for 10 years for having crumbs of fentanyl. And again, let me be clear. I'm not pro drugs should be legalized, okay? So if you're going to ask my truth, since I'm spouting off, let me say what needs to be done. First and foremost, border security, but we can't do that. We can't do that. It's not possible anymore. It's too far gone. You got apps at the border, people. You can just run across with an app. You want to get into a lane. So back when I was 18 years old, I used to go to Mexico surfing, and Border Patrol is $500 to pay off. I don't know what the price is now, to be honest, but they have them on the tape. $500 you can bring. I brought parrots, cocaine, and marijuana across, parrots, as in parrots, like birds, across $500. I was 18 years old. So Now, then you got morons that are doing it, that are sending shit on social media. That's why I blocked most of you. Anyway, so there is no way to really enforce the border like that. First of all, the border patrol, people in border patrol aren't who they used to be. They needed more employees. They just started picking people. The background checks were lacking, so you got a border patrol that a lot of them identify with people in Mexico and therefore are more prone to corruption. Say what you will, that's the truth. Then you've got it's already too late that way. Then you've got all the people in this country already that are aligned closely with cartels or organizations, and they're already here. They're here. We're past all that. So then you got a crisis on your hands, and then what's the government going to do? The government's going to, we got to do something. Let's pass fentanyl. But wait, isn't that just what happened with the crack? Let's not pay attention to the crack cocaine. We need these powers here. Treasury Department needs to go up to, and we need to take the profits and the proceeds from the people we get caught to use for law enforcement. Don't we already do that? Don't matter. Get Jelly Roll out here. He'll advocate for us until he figures out what the bill's really about. Jelly Roll, in the perfect world, what Jelly Roll could do still and should do is he should support that bill. Take a look at the years of incarceration behind it. That's what needs to happen. There's too many years being given, and we're so conditioned in the United States about these numbers that nobody cares until a family member or a friend or something is in it. But people still to this day, you got life without parole for drugs? Yep, they offered me 2 years. Life without parole for drugs, still to this day. People just don't get it. They don't know. That bill's going to end up passing. Oh, that's actually, I'm sorry, the FEND Act. I don't think that they change the mandatory minimums. I do believe that Senator Kennedy has a different bill that has that, I believe. So I don't want to misspeak on that. But the point is I think that Jelly Roll right now is sucked into the whole thing, that he's got a voice in the Senate, but I don't think that he's realizing that the senators are kind of going to use him. If anybody cares about that hearing and wants to go look, it's actually really fascinating. I mean, it is. Yes, I love politics. In the last 2.5 years, or 3 years almost now. Shit, it's almost 3 years. I got released. I only watch the headlines. I don't do deep dives in the news media like I used to when I was in prison. I absolutely love politics, all the bullshit behind it. And yeah, they're all liars and manipulators, and it's fun to watch. That's what they all do. That's what you got to be a government professional. It's true. So I don't know. Maybe I'll read some comments now. I'm trying to think. First and foremost, you have to secure the borders. We have to look at the whole sentencing scheme in the United States as far as numbers, in particular for drugs, and really try to balance this out. Why do child molesters get such little time? Why do drugs get so much time, and there's still yet a bigger drug problem than years ago? I went to prison. They said that they cut the head off the snake. They said that I was the largest methamphetamine trafficker or whatever in the Western District of Arkansas, and that's why they had to give me life sentence. I came out of prison, and there's old people that just started to do meth. Matter of fact, I made a comment the other day. Welcome to Hartford, Arkansas, where you're never too old to start using methamphetamine. A lady in her 70s, I don't even talk to, who knows my history, said something at the post office that she tried, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. In these stores all over the place, all up and down these counties, they got paraphernalia pipes. I am going back to prison for the use on paper. It says methamphetamine. Forget about me. Forget about that. I'm a fool. I should have came out if I wanted to do drugs. I should have been on what do you call it? Adderall. I should have been on pain pills, and I should have been on Suboxone or something. I mean, if I really thought that I wanted to get high and do it, that's the way I should have done it. I never thought I wanted to keep going and never really did want to keep going. So be it. That's life. I chose this, is what people would say. Um, but okay, border security for sure. We have to reduce the amount of time. It is fucking asinine to be giving people 20 years for several pounds of methamphetamine, or letting these other people walk around that they know have a bunch of meth because there's too much meth to deal with, depending on the county or the cop or whatever. We'll go after some. If we want somebody who's got a quarter gram on him, let's nail him. But if he's got a couple ounces and we don't really want him, that's too much work. We got the jails are full of drugs. It's off balance. There's no uniform to it, you know, on any of it. And I'm talking about the federal level here, guys, because when it comes to states' rights, I like the idea of states having their own. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit now too. I was going to say I like the idea of the states having. I like the idea of states' rights. The states doing what they want. If Oklahoma wants to legalize drugs and everybody can do whatever, that's great. And Arkansas wants to shoot you in the head for smoking a joint, they think that's wonderful. If that's what people vote in. The problem now, even with states' rights, is a state doing one thing and another. The lobbyists have that so locked in that they start writing these bills that are used for other states as well. Meaning, I forgot the different groups. Damn it, it's been a while since I read about the liberal one and the conservative one. I forgot the names of the two big ones, but they actually set up and they'll write these bills, and they're just doing it for other political agendas. So for conservative states, they'll write the bill, and for liberal states, I'm not saying that right. But let me read some of these comments real quick. Okay. Oh, by the way, so if you want to get serious about drugs, okay, I'm going way back here, guys. Michael Amara, hey Joey, what's up, Joey? How you doing, bro? Greg Parrish, what's up, RD? Hey, Robert, Steven, Duck Fart, there he is. Good to see you, bro. Thanks. Who struggled? Struggled Jennings, do bad. Struggled Jennings is the grandson or the step grandson, not sure, of Waylon Jennings. I know you got snow. We got 4 inches in Hot Springs. Duck Fart, boy, let me tell you something about the snow. I've been walking in the snow. So my vehicle broke down again, and I'm not going to let this be a deterrent. Once again, motherfucker. Last night, it was so beautiful outside. It's cold as shit. But I went for a walk late, and it was really nice. The only thing I'd say is when I got back in, it wasn't like refreshing. It was like, I'm such a dumbass. My back hurts. My neck hurts. My knee hurts. But in all seriousness, it was pretty nice. And today, I went to Dollar General, and I went for another walk. And I liked walking in the snow, and it was real peaceful because there's only a few cars out. And yeah, for real. There is a real thorough white food out of Philly named OT. The real did PA time for trafficking. Really good. OT, the real OT, the real. Okay, Joey. I think Joey sent that to me. Are you saying that's his name? Just to be sure. Okay, I got it. Okay, Montauk, what's up? This poor guy just wants to use drugs and be left alone. Me, this poor guy. No, Dave. Actually, I don't want to do drugs, but Storm and blew up more. Storm and blew up. When I saw you were out of prison, guess you were right. Life sentence isn't always a. Cammy Kennedy. Hey, Storman blew up. I'm not sure, Tammy. Thank you, though. Biden just outlawed fentanyl for medical purposes, Ron. Okay. So the Biden administration, also the Attorney General Garland or whatever, they sent a memo out, last year, the year before, telling the other prosecutors, U.S. attorneys, not to use the mandatory minimum or the third strike 851, the enhancements is what I'm trying to say. So they sent out a memo saying only use enhancements in like the worst of the worst cases. I saw that a bunch of Republican senators were pissed off about that during that hearing I was telling you about. And they were, and it's just, again, it's not the law necessarily I'm in disagreement with. It's the amount of time, and it's the amount of time people in this country have become conditioned with. Like it's okay, you know. And by the way, this is something a little side. I said that I am in favor of the death penalty, and I am. I've said my reasons why on a different platform, but I'm also not for life without the possibility of release. Will change, things change. Even family members whose loved ones were killed have I've seen them change about their opinion about the perpetrator or the guy that was convicted, and they want to see them out of prison. I've seen a lot of people change inside the joint. I changed inside prison, and I'll say this. I would have gotten in more trouble had Suboxone been had they drug tested for Suboxone for sure. There's this misunderstanding that for the last 10, 11 years, 13 years I was in. So my first 10 years, it was all bad conduct, 25 disciplinaries, violence involved, a lot of drugs, alcohol. Then I had clear conduct for almost 14 years, whatever. And I remember the judge in my case was like, he wasn't sure if I duped him then, duped him now, or something like that. No, I changed 100%. Even let's just say, for example, that I was doing dirt and getting away with it, and not getting caught. That's changed. And I say that in a way that it was never like that I was for all that time that I was using. That's not true. It's become that's become what people are now seeing it like I bullshitted my way of those years because of what I'm going through now, and that's not the case. I had the biggest growth period of my life when I was sober in Butner. Drank 3 times during those almost 4 years, but that was the biggest personal growth period of my life, and that's when I woke up and said, if I don't change, if I don't really do something, then I'm going to end up spending the rest of my life in prison. And that's what I did. That's when I became a rider. I got addicted to riding instead of drugs is really what happened. But Suboxone for sure, because it was a synthetic opiate all over the prisons. There was periods in my incarceration when I used it. They didn't start really testing for it until 2017 or 18, I think. And by that time, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't consistent. But yeah, anyway, I was thinking about something. My buddy died in Thailand on the patches. They extorted his mother for 100 grand to get his body shipped back. Crazy. Doctor. See this. Greg Paris. Wow. Parasite Slayer. I'm going to put that up there as you. I'm not going to make any comments about that either. Okay, right on. Rob Biden just outlawed fentanyl for surgeries. Oh, Deborah. Okay, you guys are telling me this because I'm not going to be getting it. Is that what you're saying? Fentanyl cooks have been disappearing and showing up dead, covered in fake blues. They aren't currently cooking fentanyl in most of Mexico. Right on, Parasite. Right on. Right on. One of the blue pills goes for 30 in MA. Yep. That the biggest profit margin right now in the drug scene is that. It's a Breaking Bad. Rob, were you with Tommy Kondrowski and Butner? He was a Boston guy. Timmy Kondrowski. Greg doesn't sound like off the top of my head. I'm not sure. The truth, no, it's what is happening now. Unfortunately, Taliban cut opium production 95%. Oh, shoot, Parasite Slayer. What is it? Nitazines? That's what they were talking about. I don't know what that is. That's the next wave. I heard that exactly. And I don't have any idea what it is. Government needs to stop going after pain doctors, tariff the hell out of China for shipping precursors, and turn a blind eye straight to heroin. So there's a reason. So if the fentanyl crisis was so alarming and was so bad, and it is, don't get me wrong, the government, all they can do is do stuff like, we're going to go after the dealer, we're going to make these new laws, but really it's not about this fentanyl crisis. It's so we can invade more civil liberties or whatever. And then we can. So anyway, you said something about putting tariffs on them. It's because there's way more behind the scenes than we know. Or, I mean, that seems simple, right? It does. Okay, China, look at, if you do this, we're going to do this. China's still get back from the opium wars from way back. Do you think that China doesn't really know the social problems that they're causing with fentanyl? Do you think that they don't want this? So, to be honest, it's not fentanyl that's causing all these problems in the United States. Before fentanyl, there was legal opiates, pills run by the Sackler family. But that's not the Sacklers that didn't do it either. And of course, if you really get behind the weeds of that, you know what they did. They had a bunch of people that used to work in the government that helped get around all that. What's really happening in the United States and what's happening right now is 100% the breakdown of the nuclear family. And if you're two gay people that have a child and you're raising it and your child's perfect, I get it. Now, I'm cool with whatever people want to do. I am sitting here saying that the real problems in the United States are the breakdown of the family. Families are getting further apart. Drugs fill a void. When you're separated, it's the boy. I can go into I can get into tie it to personal stuff too, but drugs heal the pain. America's in pain. That's true. Cartels ban fentanyl because LMAO fears Trump winning, sending a military, and ending up like Pablo. Parasite. So I haven't heard about this. Okay. So, nor do I want to. No, nor am I going to call anybody and question any of this. So I know that there was a myth about them putting shit in drugs. Okay. I know I'm joking, the truth. Imagine having your head cut off and having a bag full of blues dumped down the neck. So the truth, let me say something about the heads cut off and the cartel stuff. I had a handball partner for many years who lives in Mexico. And explained it to me very well. I forgot what war was raging over there, maybe something in Juarez. But most of those guys are farmers. So when you are a farmer and you see how our food production is really done, like the food that ends up on your plate, like how it got killed, when they're killing animals all the time, it's not. I'm sure once you do something like that to a human, once it gets easier or whatever, like the mob guys or whatever. But that's the heinousness of it, the shock value of it. That's different, but the body's already dead. And I'm trying to sympathize, and I'm not saying sympathize, explain where their mindset's coming from, because it's kind of actually fascinating the way it was explained to me. And that wasn't just by one of them. But that's really what it comes down to. They're farmers. People who like cartel torture videos probably also look for red room material on the dark web. I don't know what red room material is. We should, okay, Tommy, you got something here. We should deport all our drug addicts to Mexico. There, I just stopped a cross-border drug dealing. You're welcome, America. Yeah, Tammy, and I'm going to tell you something else. We had the best, we missed the best opportunity. And that was to solve our border problem and to solve our foreign affairs problem over in Afghanistan. We should have just, if people all want a better life to come across the border to Afghanistan and help rebuild Afghanistan, and then mix all the blood up, have them all breed, and tan it all up. It was a great strategic location for China, the war that will eventually come. Waters in Afghanistan, blew it. We blew it big time on that. We could have had a little Afghan Mexico over there, but then the poppy farmers would have gotten bed. But who knows? Anyway, Myanmar's at least ramping up opium production. They are now the more producer. Taliban won't ban opium 2 years in a row now. They will be overthrown if they do. Last year there was a bumper crop of opium. Okay, Parasite sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Fentanyls and nitrogens don't use opium. Purely, it's chemicals. Please explain that. It's probably too far now. Jelly roll is some kind of government psychops. No, Jelly Roll's in the moment. He does good things. He's sincere about addiction. He's an addict himself, okay? Food. So he said two things. He said that he didn't see drugs as a victimless crime, which I went through before. And then I heard him in a different one say his number one addiction is food. That man, I mean, he's huge, right? But I've been going through it. Anyway, we wants to hear that part. Anyway, hey Robert, good to see you back. If it's just for now, yeah, right, for today. That's what I'm gonna start doing, just for today. That I'm on. 2 grams is a lot of fentanyl. Parasite, yeah. So I've seen the package that came. Fuck, that was on March last year. So I don't know if it said cut 1,000 and it didn't say cut it, use something else. Mix 100 or 1,000 times, 1 gram. So yeah, for sure it's a lot. But when you're on the street and you're an addict and you're running around trying to hustle money, and this isn't justifying for them, just trying to put you in the mind frame, because I've seen it and I saw people. What was it? April when I go to jail. So really, it was when I was around. That was right before April, right before I went in. And I saw people with bags look like ounces of fentanyl, and these are just living in hotel rooms. Okay, so that's anything. The ones by the night, and yeah, for sure, dangerous. I remember thinking about it, looking at it. This guy I was just got out of rehab with, and it was yeah. So my point is this: yes, it's a lot of fentanyl, but a common street person who is lucky to get who sells pounds of meth and fentanyl, who's lucky to be sleeping in a hotel every night, has access to that kind of fentanyl. It means anybody, any street level user can. And that's what we're going to be locking up again. Again, like the crack dealers of the past. They went after guys that had gold chains, new shoes, and new cars, or souped up cars in the hood. They were easy targets. They had to do little law enforcement investigation. If you were running around with gold chains and you live in an area that everybody's on Section 8 food stamps, you're doing something wrong, probably. So, I mean, that's what we did in the 80s. They didn't go after all these kingpins, all these laws. That was all bullshit. The federal prisons still have all those guys left life sentence didn't get out. Very few of them made any money like that, So I just see the same thing coming. And if you're going to ask me about solutions, if you want to get serious about drugs, okay, you said something about China. For sure, you have to go after China in that way. But China's got something on us, or whatever. It's too much for us. Importation, if you want to get serious, definitely importation. If you want to get serious, we cannot do that. We're not going to do that. But I mean, if you really want it, but then you look at the other side, and drugs are so much of the economy, huge part of the economy. And that's, again, so now fentanyl is such a crisis ship. We've had this drug enforcement agency for all these years, so they failed. So when is the hearings going to come on how they failed? They're not. Why aren't they? Because the DEA is not truly for drug administration agency. They are an intelligence agency embedded in other countries for other reasons as well. Yes, they're looking into drug, but it's so much bigger than that. Why aren't they having hearings right now in Congress about what a failure the DEA is for letting this fentanyl crisis happen, or for allowing the methamphetamine pandemic that's across all this part of the country that's wasted counties away. Why? Why? Let's just give them 20 years instead. A couple pounds. Why your beak red? Are you trying to say I'm high, Edward? Stop it. Stop being a moron. Why is my beak red? I just got out of the shower beforehand, but you know what? So what? If I slam fucking 50 cc's right now, fuck off. I haven't yet done a deep dive into gel. The truth, look into it. Meth really isn't the problem. How many people are dropping dead from meth ODs compared to fentanyl? It's not even comparable. Okay, you're talking about deaths when you're talking about overall toll that's having on communities. It's a problem. Sure, it's a problem. How many mothers are having babies that are testing positive for meth? Lots. So all drugs are a problem. The problem is, what do we do with it? One can say they're a problem for me because I don't fear consequence of going back to prison, and I keep getting high at times and I keep popping dirty. That's my choice, right? That's what the norm would say. So is it just going to be a mental health issue? Is it a criminal issue? Do we mix them all together? Do we not know? Because right now we're in a position where nobody knows. What we are is it's clusterfuck. It's clusterfuck for real. And people are dropping dead who do meth because now they're putting fentanyl in the meth. They're poisoning it. And I would I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying maybe people should start going after people that mix. 4 G's is currently 40 grams is current 5-year minimum, and 40 is 10-year. That is a shit ton of fentanyl. The strongest fentanyl prescribed dosage is 1.6 grams. Yes, but there's a lot. Again, I will say that 40 grams, so a couple of ounces, let's just give or take a couple ounces, 40 grams, 2 ounces. People that live on the streets can have that much. And they have addiction habits and have no money. Can say that. What's up, Rob? Dave, what's up? Who the hell is paying $20 to $30 a pill for fake pills? They are $2 in Philly. Yeah, a lot of people are, for sure. $2 for yeah, that's good. Henry D. Crack penalties work. No one sells crack anymore. It's all cookie now. Not same penalty as crack. Crack penalties, parasite, they didn't work. The drugs changed. And why did the drugs change? So let's look at the crack laws. Oh, they want to follow the money trail. I heard this today too on the Senate stuff. They want to follow the money trail. You know what that means? It means they have to investigate for a while and they have to watch the operation. So they're going to watch the drugs come from a certain place and they're going to watch them be distributed and they're going to watch the money go back. Meanwhile, how many people die as they watch? How many? The crack cocaine. I remember reading a report out of Foreign Affairs magazine or journal, whatever, came out 4 times a year. 2010 July/August copy. Judge Bonner, I think it was Robert Bonner, I believe, did an article about going after the Mexican cartels about methamphetamine. And he was saying they should use the same Bonner was a judge. He was administrator for the DA in Colombia, Bogota, during the Pablo days, I believe. His background was, and he had all the benchmarks. He's that guy. I think he was doing Homeland Security when he wrote the article, but broke it down on how the government, the DA, allowed cartels to bring all this drugs into this country. By the way, Jimenez was a guy that I met in Butner. The government allowed him for years to sell cocaine. What he didn't know at the time was he was probably caught in one of these money things like this. I read the paperwork. What they did to this guy, he's got a life sentence. It's not even worth talking about. People would say bullshit. So what Bob Bonner, he broke down about how they watched it. And I thought to myself, after reading this article, and he was advocating that they do this again with the Mexican cartels. and I just couldn't help. This is over a 10-year period now, 8 years for sure. How many people died because they were watching? How many people died because they were going after the money? They did break some of those cartels up over there. They did hit them that way with the money, right? But how many people in the United States died? How many mothers died? How many daughters got tricked out? How many sons went to prison for dealing drugs? All because they allowed that cocaine to come in the country. And again, my question is, why is the DEA not being held accountable right now for the fentanyl crisis? The Drug Enforcement Agency. Why? We have it. We pay for it. Taxpayers pay for it. What's the problem? So crack penalties. So crack went out of fashion. That was one of the things. It wasn't the penalties. The people that crack cocaine penalties locked up were low-level nothings. Overwhelming majority of them. I was in federal prison. I seen a guy that didn't even. So the worst case I think was out of Kansas City. Not the worst. Okay, one of them. Possession of crack cocaine. A guy. This is out of Kansas City. He's out of the 8th Circuit too. So he possessed cocaine by giving. No. Wait, I'm sorry. It wasn't a sales charge. Possession. They got high together. They got high, and the ingestion of the drug, doing the drugs, smoking it, was the possession charge. They possessed it in their body because he admitted to doing. Man, what the hell is that case? I'm not saying it right. There was a sales charge because he gave somebody the drugs. Oh man, now I'm gonna be stuck on that. You know what? I got that case in my room somewhere too because I started working on it. They can stop fentanyl, parasite slayer. Okay, I'll say it. Going back to you, parasite, crack penalties worked. No one sells crack anymore. So they do sell crack. It's coming back, by the way. One of the things that happened also with the crack is that the Mexican cartels and the Colombian cartels started beefing because the Mexicans started burning them. They basically put them on lock. They screwed them. So what's happened in the last few years, and you can see it, really pay attention, is Colombians got their own routes back. So now they're saying, fuck the Mexicans. That's a little war that's going on. That's not me having all this insight. Pay attention. I was going to do a piece for Vice about this some time ago. Henry D, what up? They can stop fentanyl. Rob D was never a huge fan of Dude, but it's light years better than Bro. Yeah. But they need to stop. I don't know what this netazines or whatever at the same time. I don't know what that is, bro. Thanks for checking up on that. I died on the 18th of last month of that shit, just so you know. Bro. I love you, bro. That's what I'm going to say. What's up, bro? Need to work with cartels, allow them to move cocaine and heroin as long as they continue to ban synthetics. Man, you just got me in my feelings a little bit, for real. I'm gonna get a hold of you, bros, in a few. For real. Real hard. Reading these things like to make me cringe to the point of nearly vomiting. Reading things like that. The truth, bro, going hard. So, okay. Instead of importing drugs, we should deport drug addicts. Their problem solved. You're welcome. Yeah, but that's unrealistic. Tammy, I get it, what you're saying, but a realistic problem. I mean, we could have solved the border problem that way. Huh. So, man, I don't want to do that though. Oh, the truth. Here we go. Okay, you guys are going to start. Tammy Kennedy -IX. Glad to see grammar Nazis are in. Thanks, Tammy. Always thank you, Rob. No problem, the truth. Tammy Kennedy, your poor grammar leads to confusion. Da 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 da. Tammy Kennedy. Okay, thank you. Well, don't read them. The problem solved. Hey, what's up, Johnny Mack? Who I missed a call. Okay. Well, don't read them. I can absolutely see you fumbling around looking for your. Okay, let's do not instead of say the truth. We love it there. Okay, let me see. Say hi. I am saying hi, bro. And there's always one asshole today. I'm going to talk to you. John Wolf, us, Tammy, Parasite, and Senior developed in the 1950s. Fake dailies are sold in Columbus. The truth. Wolf is right. I've been on here an hour. I wasn't talking about Rob. I was talking about jelly. It's okay. Fentanyl been around since 1950s, 1959, I believe. Jelly rolls the government psyops. When they eradicated hydrocodone, it created the fentanyl problem. John Wolf, it did. But bigger than that is the breakdown of the American family. Only 4K people a year died from 72,000 overdoses. Oxycontin doesn't kill by itself. Now 110,000 people a year die from overdoses. Or sad. Straight government op, the truth. Taylor Swift has been activated. Americans should have a right to pain relief. John Wolf, you're right. Along with Mr. Pfizer. Rob, if you don't beat your addiction, you're going to do life on the installment plan, which is reality, probably what you and every junkie is doing in reality. Tammy Kennedy. I've been doing life on the installment plan since I was 15 years old. Thank you. And thank you, government, for locking me up for being a junkie. So I'm going back to prison for being a junkie. But it is what it is, as I like to say. What can I say? And Tammy, it makes you feel better. You can stay on here and talk a bunch of stuff instead of having a life somewhere else. John Wolf agreed. 2016 CDC guidelines were the worst thing that happened. Now CDC walked them back, but it will take time for doctors to catch back up. You know, guys, we can talk a lot of shit. The FEND Act will be enforced by those 80K militarized IRS agents that they just hired. They will target Bitcoin and other electronic currency holders. John Wolf. Let me tell you something. They just hired you hit something that I just totally forgot about. They did just hire a bunch of IRS agents, and I'm sure that does coincide in part, at least with this act. This FEND Act is not about fentanyl. They're using what's in the media to get something else that they want. You can go back to Len Bias, the basketball player who had a heart attack because of crack cocaine, and he didn't really do crack, but they used him as a poster child for crack. And then they made all these crack laws where they took all these young black kids off the corner for wearing expensive sneakers and selling crumbs. But I don't know. I guess having said all that, it's this country's still, and I mean that, still pretty amazing. That things are happening which have changed the direction of the country, the world, whatever. You know, that's a whole different ballgame. But that some people came over to this country, burned the Native Americans, whatever you want to say, slavery, did all that stuff. The country still to turn it into what it has been. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. But I think we're on the decline, and I'm not in a depressing, sad way. I just think that every dog has its day, and we're at a point now where like we can't even get the border. Like it's not the same country. And I'm not talking about race and nationalities. Of course, that's a big part of it, because when you take a lot of people from different countries and you don't have one unifying language or whatever, I think there's friction. That's why people have Chinatowns, and we have Mexicans in Fort Smith that live with Mexicans, Guatemalans, that like everybody's separated. So, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I've been kind of over the edge on politics all day. I've been reading a lot of politics, and Americans are suckers. John Wolf. Well, they're too busy dancing to Jelly Roll's latest hits, or to getting high, or getting high. That's what I've been to. China can't win a war with America. China's economy depends on the American consumer, and China needs American food and water. Well, yeah. Their Chinese economy is having some problems, but we can't even stop a border. Christ, can't stop the border. It's nuts. And I had a friend on here that knows firsthand all about that. Jelly Roll probably got the booster shot. John Wolf, Anthony will be out for the 4th this year. Anthony Center. You always seem smarter and less scummy than most other inmates. If you beat your addiction, I think you have a chance at making it. Tammy Kennedy. Yeah, I don't know if I will. I don't know. I'm not sure. So, and other inmates. Yeah, okay. I appreciate it. As far as a chance of making it, imagine that I never would have got a dirty urine or been on paper, but I've made it. So what I'm saying is, well, no. So I became somebody, I guess, when I met Bernie Madoff. That's what got me on the map. Then I started using after that again. So I guess when I started using, then I started descending. But then I started writing for Vice afterwards. So in addiction, did I do my best? I don't know. I don't know. Just thinking out loud. Jelly Roll loves the deep state. Jelly Roll just he's a smart guy, John. If you really go back and listen to the interviews, the thing is it's like a politician. It's like somebody that goes into government that says like I'm not a politician or I'm a businessman like Trump. Well, I don't want to use the Trump thing. Palin, she wasn't at all like she didn't want to. She wasn't a politician. More Democrats love Sarah Palin in Alaska than Republicans because she's going after big oil. Okay, but at some point they get corrupted. It's like somebody that goes to work for the government at a low level. They might go in there for the right reasons. They might start doing the right thing, but at some point, their career, they become that career person, and then they will do wrong just to stay a part of the system or the government. And there's 1,000 examples I can give with that, but you know what I'm saying for sure. No, they're targeting electronic currency. Of course, they're going to target electronic currency because they pay taxes with them, or they haven't got that down. You don't find actual crack on the street anymore. Parasite, you do now, and it's coming back. Really, no, you're absolutely right. What you're saying, like it was, but drugs changed. So there's many reasons. I saw a video about this not long ago. There's many reasons, but the drug got out of fashion too. So you had the prescription drugs, meth. I mean, they made it so everybody that doesn't even have money can use meth. You know, homeless people. That's a big part of our homeless problem across this country. From one to the other is methamphetamine, because people who do methamphetamine and run the streets, like they're just travelers. They're travelers. They got a backpack. They're ready to roll. It scares the shit out of me to see people that I know I was in rehab with be those people, because I'm like a step away from being that. And I mean, like losing everything. I'm not going to cry. Fuck all that dumb shit. But it's like, my God. Man, I gave some people furniture that had an apartment for like a month. They didn't care about the furniture. They sold it. So they sold it. And it was like, okay, there's no stopping us. And they knew they were going to be homeless and they didn't care. Oh man, that's a whole different animal. All right. It should be the other way around like cocaine. I'd love to see a video. Every fanboy meeting his favorite wise guy. The truth. I'd love to see a video of every fanboy meeting his favorite wise guy. That's very funny. Wow. People keep saying, am I scared if Joey's going to get out? And Anthony, get the, because cocaine comes in from Mexico and the fentanyl is made in the Northeast. Okay. Yeah, cocaine. So, like I said, I know that from prison. The Mexicans just punish the Colombians because of the routes. Okay, I wonder who James Proctor's favorite. Okay, John Wolf has been awesome. One of my best friends died about the time as you did for now. One of my best friends did about the same time as you. What's up, OG Mike? How you doing, bro? Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out. One of my best friends did the same time as you did for nonviolent drug offense. OG Mike, I think that's your friend you told me about for murder. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Military Air Force was importing Afghanistan into Pennsylvania. Canarsie Jeff and his guest said that Joey looks like the Grinch. Okay, let's see. Okay, John. Asset forfeiture doesn't need to prove a crime was committed. Neither will the FEND Act. So, John, if I'm correct, there was something. So I had assets taken from me. Okay, um, cars, Corvettes, whatever. There's a bunch of cars. So at the time, it was they had to have a hearing, and the hearing could be done prior to my criminal hearing. And they changed that because I knew some guys that went back to court. Matter of fact, I know some people. Randy Lanier. What was his co-defendant's name? And I can't think of it, but if you look up Randy Lanier, he was a race car driver for a minute. Marijuana smugglers, him and his co-defendant. The government forfeited or took, I forgot how much money and property, whatever. And Randy's co-defendant, damn, what is his name? He got out because he eventually proved that the government wrongly took his assets. They were wrong. And rather than pay them money, took away his life sentence, kicked him out on the street. That's true. So they have changed the forfeiture stuff, but it looks like they're doing some reversal on that. That was one of the things that stood out in my mind, John Wolf. Oh yeah. So this is Travis. People think they're buying a perk or a Xanax and it's fentanyl. So that's I I would assume I wasn't into the illegal pill market, so to speak. Except for I did do some blues, those 30s, and I mean, I knew what I got going into it. I'm gonna do flashbang raids all over YouTube, super chat my features. Uh, when was the last time anyone saw real rock crack? Now it's just quickly cooked powder, which they call cookie. I'm thinking it's because they now know the penalties. So when is the last time anybody saw March Iran Contra? So base and crack. So when I was a kid, first started smoking, and I do mean a teenager, we did ammonia. Rob up there in the north, brother, that poison is cheap. Doug Ross, what's up, Doug? Rob, up here in the north, brother, that poison is cheap. So cheap, man. And the pressed pills have been around here for 10 years. They came in as 80 mil oxys and people started falling. Meth is 200 an ounce. Yeah, meth is fucking. So yeah, he distributed it by sharing it. All right, Doug, thank you. Has anyone watched Dope Sick about OxyContin? Great show, by the way, Travis. Great. Okay, guys, I'm going to get off here shortly. Colombians have always controlled the cocaine. Mexicans tried moving into Colombia and lost. Well, so there was an issue. Okay, well, anyway, lots of very pure blow in the western provinces are getting cheaper too. Looking at 50 a gram and 20 about they have dropped prices to get. Yes, they have Doug Ross. Doug, getting cheap. Travis Oxycodone. Travis, oxycodone and oxycontin by itself has killed exactly 0 people. He's talking about people haven't used it. Meth was always a biker drug. Yeah, it was. Wow. Yes, it's terrible. People that need pain meds can't get them for doctors anymore. I'd like to hear more from John Wolf about UB. John Wolf is very informative, by the way, and will and will not be receiving it. What's up? Hey, Ma Brown Hunter, Dave Hughes. How are the Mexican opium farmers making money now? Boy, I don't know about that. And they introduced OxyContin to poor white people, pushed it hard in poor southern areas. Yes, maybe Mexican opium farmers weren't making money. They switched to avocados. Opium, however, is coming back in Mexico. Okay. There was garbage for years after 9/11, man. Cartel passing man-made shit for real. Almost got me chopped up passing that to very bad people. Ace, give me a call. It no longer exists here in Jersey. Only fentanyl. Oh, okay. So yeah, you're onto something here. Their site for sure. Pablo cared about the quality of his cocaine. Now that the Clemens are back to moving itself, quality has gone back up. How do you know, Parasite? Unless you're in law enforcement. Could be. It was hard to get good coke here in the Midwest. I preferred meth back then. Preferred meth. Parasites. Slayer's sister was speed freak from 68 to 75, and you bet she came from the Satan choice on. I made up her. Kevin was, man, it almost sure was on the scale in North America. Doug Ross. Doug, are you in Canada? He's straight to heroin's making comeback lately. I know someone that works at a methadone clinic, and suddenly people are testing negative for fentanyl and positive for opiates heroin. I didn't know you were back on YouTube. Yeah. So not consistent. Terrible. But anyway, I have a bet with my buddy on how long you make it, Tammy Kitty. How long I make it on YouTube or how long I make it till I die? Which one, Tammy? Which one? I don't, you can say either one. The truth, notice none of these boys came to this chat since they don't have wrenches here. Yeah. Okay. With the circle thing in front of you, it reminds me of a romper room. I see Jimmy. I see circle thing. Shit, I didn't even know that circle was in front of it. That's crazy. That's like the little stand I use for like a phone. It's like for vlogger, teenage girls. Yeah. David Hughes, yeah. That's funny. Jesus Christ. Gardino is how it is. That was good. All the guys I did time with and grew up with. Dave Hughes, they tested it first in Estonia. This was international. Read about it. Lost generation of Estonia due to fentanyl 20 years ago. Really? As long as assets of forfeitures legal, drug prohibition will never end. Yeah. Leonard Pickard predicted the fentanyl epidemic back in 1996. Really? Yes, it's on purpose. Rehab doesn't work. Jail doesn't work. It's a drain on society. So the government uses death now to rid the streets. So, rehab. So I saw Jelly Roll also. This was started off about Jelly Roll. Talk about all the rehabs he's involved with. And there's a sheriff down in one county in the United States that you don't have to be convicted of a crime to go to jail and get help as far as rehab. So you can go, if you're an addict, you can go train yourself in, basically. Rehab can be really good. A lot of people use it as, what did I say? Let me think of I got a journal written about this. So, place of rehab. I use it as a discovery. Damn, what were the words I used to use? I use it as a discovery house, not a recovery house. That's right. So a lot of people go to rehab. A lot of guys that I noticed go in there because a lot of them are homeless and they get off the streets for a minute. There are people that sincerely want to be off drugs and they go in there, and then either the people that are in there, the group itself, that could mess up somebody's rehabilitation. That can mess up the whole program. If there's guys doing a bunch of stuff that are against the rules, vaping, whatever, drugs, whatever, that can be a problem. If the counselors don't feel the pace of the room when they're teaching, that could be a problem. There's a lot of different things that can make or break a rehab. One of the things that I now realize, so the rehab I went to, it's basically, a lot of guys have done time, a lot of homeless people. I guess the poor end of the rehab spectrum. I guess that'd be a good way to say. Definitely wasn't New Beginnings in Malibu. But I think I learned a lot this last time especially. I learned a lot in rehab and a lot of good tools for my addiction purposes. One of the things that they fail on, I've realized, is they need the family involved too. So if you have a spouse or your family and you've hurt these people, if you hurt your loved ones, if the addicts are, they've got to be included in it. Because if they're not, and everybody can't get on the same page, it's like doomed to fail. And I believe that. I saw something about this, so I that's what I do. I watch addiction videos. That's what I do. Even when I've been high, drunk, whatever, it's something that makes sense to me. A lot of sense. Um, but I think that everybody goes off the ACT model nowadays. A lot of them, I believe that AA can work for some people. I believe that the ACT model can work for some people. You know what seems to be the most successful? People that have the most success in rehabilitation, I've noticed time and time again, are people that turn to God. That's what I'm realizing. Um, I have done that, even though I failed to go this weekend. But I know my core issues. I know what keeps me off kilter. It's not an excuse whatsoever, but I can see it. I just can't get right. Mr. Can't get right. Horrible. When you go in, okay, Dave, let's see. Foosball. When you go in, who are your people? Laugh out loud. Mine? Uh, my car. My car. When's the last time anyone saw mescaline? Huge fan of Robert Ross of the Truth. Same with the Zebas and the codeine and the Quaaludes. Watch out, Coke is getting hit with Fetty. Doug Ross, Art Sleester, former quarterback of the Ohio State Buckeyes, bit the dust on snorting cocaine, and it was fentanyl. Steve, people with blow all their UBI on sneakers. People will blow all their. I'm going through the same shit you are. In a way, it feels good. I'm not alone in the struggle. Steve, you mean with probation and stuff, bro? That's what I say, bro. My best friend will have a year clean February 8th. Proud of him. Travis, I'm jealous of him. Jealous of him. For real. It feels so good when you're going to meetings and you get your chip. It's awesome. It's awesome. I'll keep checking back to see if H Block gets their store man back. Tammy Kennedy. So I wasn't H though. I wasn't an H. M was when I left from, and C Block was where I stayed most of the time, and I did go to G Block for a second. You betcha, Rob. Been in the weeds since you walked out of the medieval place, Rob. I'd love to speak sometime, man. I've been around some huge players over the years. Never rolled, no paper on me. Can work now. What? Whoa. You betcha, Rob. Been in the weeds since you walked out of that medieval place. Rob, I'd love to speak sometime, man. I've been around some huge players over the years. Never rolled, no paper on me. Can work. Doug, are you sitting here? So, Doug, I just need to know, because this is what it sounds. It sounds like you're saying that you're ready to start dealing dope. I hope you're not saying that on YouTube, because delete. Been following since episode the first. Steve, thank you. I appreciate it. What's up, Mark? What's up, Rob? Melancholy. I hate that word. Okay. At least I've had some time. So in case you don't know, I got court put off till Thursday. Have surgery Friday. Don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, whatever. But so I'll wake up tomorrow, like 72 hours or something like that. Got some things to do, but otherwise I'm cool. I'm making a lot of YouTube videos. I've been a fan since 2010 when I was reading his newsletter. John Wolf. About the SCR. What was the SCR though, John? I'm trying to think. I used to live next door to Narcotics Anonymous location. Super Bowl Sunday was always a big day there. Same holidays. It's a good deal. Hey, Cardino, how's that? So the rehab community in Arkansas has a lot of events that really a lot. They really do. Oh, God, foosball, this is really good. A lot of people use rehab as a form of mental superiority towards others that don't have a month, etc., of sobriety like they do. Usually at a certain table that slowly disappears. Wow, that is fucking fantastic. You're so right. So one of the things, okay, so I've been in started meetings and stopped meetings what 3, 4 times now in the last since I've been out of prison. The last time I went, I guess they call it riding on a pink cloud when you get out of rehab, right? The first time I got out of rehab, I should have known that I was going to relapse. Okay. I should have been fully aware. Excuse me, I'm burping. This last time, man. But once I do, I can't unwind and I can't just jump right back, like start going to meetings the next day. Um, I can't. But what you just said is, so this last time I go to a meeting and I engage. I like to talk. I like to listen. Um, One of the things I do, and I didn't even realize it, was when people start talking and then I tell my story, I pick up on other people's stuff and I include them. And somebody said that was a bad habit. I was told to shut up and listen and not speak for like 60 days or whatever because I didn't have enough clean time. That kind of deflated me. Was that the night that I hit the deer? No, it was the next weekend. So I came out of AA and it's destroyed my car on with a 10-point vodka one night. Made me want to drink, but I didn't. That was a joke. So I think after that night, though, one of the things that happened was what you just said. I didn't have enough clean time. So I wasn't speaking from some place of superiority, but I was speaking like somebody who'd been clean a while. Now, there's a different thought process on this. I have a friend that has halfway houses, rehab facility. I have a friend that's involved, and he believes he knows me very well from years ago, and he believed that like, okay, are you done using? Then just be done. Okay, like just be done. You're done. Like if I think about it, or you get stuck in that mind frame of I'm an addict, I'm a junkie, I'm a loser, that's what you're going to be. But if you just move on from it, go to church, whatever, then you just move on. I remember my wife telling me one time that she believed, this is a couple years ago, that I should start working with youth because I was in a position where if I really pursued it, I could have went and started at least talking to uh, juvenile offenders in a facility, juvenile prison, not far from where I'm at. Knew somebody who knew somebody. They always want people to go in and talk. I didn't want to because I was not clean at the time. I was saying because it was drinking, but there was drinking and drug use. But she believed that that would stop me, or that I would take. And I think there's something to that. One of the jobs that I just tried to get was actually for it was Baptist. So it was through the Baptist church. It was for like a foster, not a foster home, like an orphanage, so to speak, for troubled teenagers. I wanted that job so bad. I didn't give a damn if it was $11 an hour. The thought of going in there and talking to those kids, I think that's where I needed to be. Let me tell you something. I went in there and they don't hire felons. The people that were in there, there's 4 of them. They all tried to get me on. And then the people on the phone that were in a different place said no because of my criminal background. My point in all this is it just came from this comment about when you've had so much time sober. I think there's more to it than times and dates. Although, again, I must say that I do like that whole. I like the whole atmosphere, the whole culture of AA and NA. But the hardest people on addicts will be people from AA and NA. Will be people that have been clean for a while. And I think they forget easily. There's a part of the big book that I talked about not long ago that says some people aren't constitutionally capable of being sober. And some people that have been sober for a long time kind of like look at people that are struggling with addiction still or keep relapsing as people that aren't ready to change or don't want to change. That's what people say. I can see where that comes from. I have a hard time because what's going on in my life to really buy that. Maybe one day I will. Who knows? I search for answers more than anybody else. Nobody has disappointed me more than me, but what can I do? I can't apologize for my addiction, nor will I ever apologize for my addiction again. Can't, won't, ain't gonna happen. I have violated my supervised release by using alcohol and drugs, specifically by being a junkie. So that's why I'm going to go back to prison, even if it's a violation of law. That's what I'm going back for. You can spin it either way you want. That's what's going to happen. It's not my probation officer's fault. It's not my judge's fault. Congress has laws written up that way, and the judge has a job to do. That's what's getting ready to happen. You were last cell, second floor, H block, Lewisburg, Tammy Kennedy. I was not. I was an F block. F block. Never was an H block, but that was good. And yes, I had the biggest store. Well, me and Basic had the two biggest stores on the compound. But it wasn't H, it was F block for sure. Wow, that was pretty good. Well, guys said an ounce of meth is 200 now, made me think about it. Yeah. So, yeah. I'm new, like my second or third episode. Great stuff. Public, boy, I'm not even going to try to butcher that name. Thank you. I appreciate it. Could, if I wanted to, respect is huge up north. We play different. It's choice. And I choose to start a business and have dabbled somewhat at times. Oh, I got you. Okay. Right on. Mr. Can't get right. Right. I actually stole that from somebody. There's a guy down here. His name's Mike, and he's fucked up on Match Made in Heaven. He's a match made in match made. He was on death row and flipped his case. And he's strung out. And when I don't hang with people down here. I've had a couple friends that I've used with around this area, but I don't hang out. But there was a time last year after my first relapse from Harbor House when I did. And I say what I expose myself, meaning all the people that get high were in one spot, like 12, 13, 14 people. And I went and I used one. And that was a terrible mistake. But there was a guy I met, he did it Oklahoma time behind the walls, flipped the death penalty case. And that's what he called himself. He wanted to be on the channel. He's going to say, can I be Mr. Can't Do Right? Can't Get Right. Mr. Can't Get Right. I saw him 2 days ago in the store. And he was actually USP autocorrect. Sorry, no problem. He was meanwhile, Larry Lorton is making $2K a month. Absolutely. Larry Lorton, he's doing great. Guy had been in prison a whole hell of a long time ago. Yeah, I think you're talking juveniles would have been great for you. Yeah, for sure. I'm so happy to be a civilian today. Right on. Okay, let me see, pal. I'm not sure. So then you threw in, meanwhile, Larry Lorton's making $20K a month. Laugh out loud. No, I'm not sure why you're laughing though. I'm so happy to be a civilian today. I'm not going to take away from Larry. Been locked down, been to 2 treatments, best feeling ever. Brother, waking up sober and meeting. I went 4 times a day in Edmonton. AB Rob got to talk, man. Email it, not for YouTube. Doug, infoconvictinc@gmail.com. Infoconvictinc@gmail.com. Good for you. Only positive things can happen and will happen. You already did enough time for a victimless offense. John Wolf. Thank you. You're right. It was F block. So you're saying Tammy Kennedy. So do you know? Are you a guy and you're some? Wait a minute. So Tam, did you know somebody that I did time with that, or did you? Are you the person? Anyone else having trouble with Roku TV tonight? Yes, I'm glad to see Rob made it through his court date. The truth. I gotta go this week. You're right. It was up. Like I remember it wrong. You were cellmates with Kevin. Holy shit. So that was one of many. So are you Kevin? Are you saying something? I'm sending you prayers and positive vibes. Things happen for us. Remember, you got this. I appreciate that. Thank you. My buddy that finally got years stayed in rehab 6 months, then got a job at the rehab. Travis the Bear. So that's kind of where well, anyway. Anyway, Rob, you were in with a guy, Lee Watley from Hamilton, was in Florida from start of his bit that John and Nerd talked about him, said he watched Gotti Bro get pushed around. So if he watched Gotti get pushed around, okay. So Doug, so John Gotti is what you're saying. He would have had to been at Marion. If you're talking about the brother, Danny Pharma, I heard punished him, but I'm not really. Thank you, Marky Mark. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. But otherwise, Doug, I have not heard of that. I appreciate you, Mark. Okay. Okay, this is about the end. Let's see. I don't understand the system. Throwing people back in prison for jail for dirty is and other convictions. Get yourself in AA and rehab, man. So foosball. I can't now. It's too late. But I now don't have a vehicle once again. But it's okay. It's all right. All right, guys. I'm gone. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. And I don't want to say when I'm going to be back on because then I won't, and then I'll be a flake. But I'm making videos. That's for sure. Take care. Good night.